Sandy, I know you guys said no timetable, but is there at least a floor with what the best case scenario would be?
Well, we're going to put him on the 10-day disabled list today, but I don't think this period is going to be measured in days. I think it's going to be measured in weeks. So, you know, rather than speculate about when he'll be back, I think it's going to be a considerable amount of time, and I think that's all we can say right now.
I know we saw 2 years ago Steven Matz with a partial lat tear, missed 2 months. Is there any similarity in terms of where it is on his body or degree of severity?
Yeah, I can't really make that comparison. Steve did have a lat injury, and it kept him out for 2 months, and we'll see whether, you know, this time period is comparable to that, but right now I just can't speculate about that.
Was there any determination in the MRI if it was connected to the biceps tendonitis at all?
Well, the doctor has said that there wasn't any connection. There isn't any connection between what happened and a possible bicep injury. So that's all I can go on.
You feel like that's a definitive statement, Sandy? You think that there's no chance of this at all?
Well, look, I'm not a doctor, okay? And at the same time, that question was specifically asked, and the answer was no, that there's not a connection. Now, that's an opinion, so, you know, but coming from a pretty knowledgeable source.
Sandy, does this alter your thinking at all, your plans at all, in terms of potentially pursuing outside help for pitchers?
Well, I think as I had said over the last few days, we have looked at that possibility, and I would say yes, that this probably accelerate that process. But I think we have to be realistic about what may be out there. And as I said before, there are, you know, some pitchers who may be available who have not been pitching, would require a certain amount of time to ramp up, and might not be available to us until about the time that Matz and Lugo are possibly back. But there may be some other possibilities that we will also take a look at, but certainly this changes that situation a little bit.
Sandy, I don't know if you kind of heard the way the situation was perceived with Noah between saying no to the MRI and then getting hurt, you know, a couple days later. Just, I don't know what you thought about that, and then also looking back, just how do you think the situation was handled? Are you okay with how everything went down, or would you kind of redo something?
Yeah, well, first of all, let me make clear that it was my decision for Noah to pitch. It was with input from a variety of different sources, including Noah himself. The MRI was not dismissed out of hand simply because Noah said he wouldn't do it. I think we had to evaluate whether it was important to do so in spite of his opposition. That was factored into the decision as well. So, you know, from that standpoint, you know, it's not to say that things couldn't have been done differently, but you know, from my standpoint, I made the decision, and as I said, based on the most recent medical opinion that I've gotten, there wasn't any connection between the injury and the purported discomfort in his bicep.
Is it possible he overcompensated in some way?
I think anything's possible. I think that's, you know, something that I don't think we'll ever know. He was throwing 100 miles an hour in the first inning. Was that because he was trying to show someone that, or some of us, that you know, he was fine? I don't know the answer to that. I sincerely believe that Noah felt that he was fine. There would be no reason for him to say otherwise. So I think that on that basis, you know, to some extent we relied on that. Yeah.
So, I'm sorry. You've been around a long time. Is there a possibility that, and I'm assuming the numbers would say the amount of injuries are up, bigger, stronger, and I'm sure you guys must talk about it to some degree, that maybe this isn't working the way that pitchers go about off-season weights or something?
Well, again, I think you have to be careful about extrapolating, you know, generalities from a particular situation. Noah's a big guy. He's a big, strong guy. And did that contribute to this situation? It's conceivable. But I think it's hard to speculate at this point about, what, generally is happening with pitchers and whether, at some point less is more. Certainly a possibility.
Sandy, you said this was your decision.
Yeah.
Does it make you reevaluate anything at all about your decision-making process?
Well, I think it is a pretty acute reminder that, all of these things have to be taken into account, and all of the different possible outcomes have to be taken into account, and that it's important to have as much and as current information as possible. But again, what I have to do in that situation is evaluate all of the input that comes from a variety of different sources and evaluate and weigh that input and make a decision that hopefully is in the best interest of the team. But and I hope that happened in this case, but obviously I'll think about it.